The what?
The art of comedy.
I don't know. Just for having
You've got a birthday coming up, haven't you?
Yeah.
Which one is it?
February the 4th.
And can you tell us how many it'll be?
No, I'm not going to tell that.
That's lady's prerogative, not telling her age.
All right, I'll tell you.
Go on then.
92.
Does it feel like having that legend on your set?
It's just absolutely, I just can't believe it.
How do you feel?
I feel fine, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I go running.
Yeah.
Well, not always, but only if I want to go to the lavatory.
All thinks the props are for his personal use. But then Norman, well, he's one in a million. Sarah Falkland, BBC Midlands Today, on the Waisley Hills.
Time to get wed, but then when I asked it, she said I was past it, and that made me wish I was dead. But I'm still trying hard, and nobody's barred, so I thought that I ought just to mention that with no love so far, whoever you are, I've got a small house and a pension.
Sir Norman Wisdom has died at the age of 95. That was confirmed by his son, that he died at a nursing home on the Isle of Man, where he's lived for many years. He'd suffered a number of strokes over the last 6 months, and his health had deteriorated over the last few days in particular. And the family has now asked for privacy. But just in the last hour, confirmation there that Sir Norman Wisdom has died today at a nursing home on the Isle of Man.
Our top story this morning. The actor and comedian Sir Norman Wisdom has died at the age of 95.
Whether on stage or off stage, Sir Norman Wisdom never stopped performing.
Oh, hello.
He spent his life making people laugh.
He was astonishingly agile. Charlie Chaplin said he was his favourite clown.
Emergency!
He was a slapstick clown, the little man, clumsy, put upon, endearing.
It's all right, Mr. Grimsdale, bit of hold up, but don't worry.
It gave me a home, something to eat, a wonderful place to live, marvellous mates, and football, cricket, swimming, everything that I thought was in life.
But he was more than just a comedian. He won awards playing a terminally ill cancer patient.
Where'd you find that?
Kept it in the linen cupboard.
Dear, oh dear.
He was a huge star in Albania, where his had been the only Western films allowed by the communist dictatorship. He was mobbed each time he visited the country. Today, his comedy seems unsophisticated. Downtrodden clowns are out of fashion, but Norman Wisdom had proved there was more to him than
Norman Wisdom's official website, because the site now just has this front page to it. This is just in the last around about half an hour or so, and then the small type down at the bottom, I suspect many of you will not be able to see that properly at home. It says the full website will return shortly. Our servers have crashed twice with the amount of traffic. So there we are, the website, Sir Norman Wisdom's official website crashing with the interest as the news just comes out in the last hour.
For me to direct someone like Norman Wisdom, obviously I was nervous, but he just brushed that aside, and he never stopped making people laugh.
What was he like on a personal level?
Well, I can't claim to know him on a personal level. Obviously, I was talking to him when the cameras weren't rolling, and to me, he seemed no different than when they were. He was just laughing, joking. He'd got like a... I don't know where the jokes come from. He must have had just like a encyclopedia of jokes in his mind, and he just got one for everything that happened, every occasion. He just never stopped joking. And then at the end of the filming, all the people had stayed behind. There was hundreds. and they'd all come with their books and their videos and their DVDs, and they lined up, and this line went right out of the set into the car park outside, and he sat at the table, the same table that he'd sat for the filming, and he didn't move until every last person had had their DVD or their book or a photograph, and he just sat there and he had a joke for every one of them. It was incredible, and obviously it's a memory that, you know, hopefully I'll have forever. You can't, you know, if we'd had £1 million budget, I couldn't have done it.
Mr. Grimsdale! Mr. Grimsdale!
Wisdom's popularity extended well beyond Britain. He was the national comedy hero of Albania, being the only Western actor whose films were allowed in the country during the communist era. Knighted in 2000, whether he was winning awards, working for charity or meeting David Beckham or the Queen,
Norman Wisdom was very careful not to fall down.
no matter what the event, Sir Norman stole the show.
Norman.
This award was supposed to be given by Norman to the representative of the makers of the cartoon Gerald McBoing Boing on Planet Moo, but it looked at one time as if he'd been lucky to get it. However, it turned out all right in the end.
At his 90th birthday bash in 2005, he was still showing little sign of slowing down.
Both my family and I are, you know, really upset because Norman, not only a client but a great friend and part of the family, really. My wife Becky and I were celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary today, and we got back tonight, heard the news, and it's just absolutely devastating because, you know, he's a friend as well as just being someone I've worked with over the years.
He'd been ill, though, for a while, hadn't he?
Well, he'd started dementia and he'd gone into a residential care home, but he was always quite fit physically. It's just that he'd had a stroke a little while ago and started getting weaker, I think. And mind you, at 95, you know, the body, I suppose, does get weaker, and that was it. But apparently he died peacefully, so we're pleased about that.
Just reflect on, for us, what he was like to work with for so many years.
What he was like to work with, he was never ever big-headed. He was always a man of the people. He always his feet on the ground. Whenever he'd gone on stage, say, and done an absolute sellout concert, he would come off and say, "I think we got away with that, don't you?" Never any big time about him. The other thing, he was always a naughty little boy. That, you know, you'd take him places and he was always messing around. But that was Norman. You just couldn't help loving him for it. And he would wind you up no end. If he was on a show and I couldn't get there, I'd phone him up and say, "Are you okay, Norman?" He said, "Oh, I feel very dizzy. I don't think I can go on tonight." And the place was packed. 3,000 people, and you'd start worrying. But after a while, you knew he was just winding you up. He was a naughty little boy, but so lovely.
And on the momentous occasion, the veteran comedian was eager to offer a few words of wisdom.
Such is life, and life is such. And after all, it isn't much. First a cradle, then a hearse. Might have been better, but it could have been worse.
Always the joker, Sir Norman Wisdom will undoubtedly be remembered as one of the true greats of British comedy.
Don't laugh at me, 'cause I